the vice president earlier referred to, as part of what he thinks is an accomplishment, the president's trade war with China. You lost that trade war. You lost it. What ended up happening is, because of a so-called trade war with China, America lost 300,000 manufacturing jobs. Farmers have experienced bankruptcy because of it. We are in a manufacturing recession because of it. And when we look at where this administration has been, there are estimates that by the end of the term of this administration, they will have lost more jobs than almost any other presidential administration.
To every action, there is a reaction. When the United States first implemented a trade war in China, they may have never realized how their actions could affect other countries. For instance, sub-Saharan Africa was forced into economic distress due to the war, specifically South Sudan, Angola, and Eritrea. Research shows that these countries were hit the hardest from the trade war due to multiple reasons. The following video gives background information on the U.S.-China trade war. South Sudan is a country located between Ethiopia and the Central African Republic. In 2017, 95% of South Sudan exports were to China. Their top export is crude petroleum, and other raw materials that they export includes forage crops, raw cotton, and gold.
Also, in contrast to northern Sudan, the nature here is green and lush, with mountains, valleys, and of course, the stunning Nile River.
Angola is a country located on the western Atlantic coast of Central Africa between Namibia and the Republic of the Congo. Their top export was crude petroleum, and other exports include diamonds, petroleum gas, refined petroleum, and coal tar oil.
With a population of more than 6 million, Luanda is the world's most populous Portuguese-speaking capital city. The city is on Angola's Atlantic coast. Its current renaissance is a truly inspiring success story.
Eritrea is a country located in East Africa and is bordered to the northeast and east by the Red Sea. In 2017, 58% of Eritrea's exports were to China. Their top export was ore, slag, and ash, and other exports include gold and pepper.
Eritrea is a country smaller than Oklahoma, sitting on the Horn of Africa, bordering Sudan, Ethiopia, Djibouti, and the Red Sea, not far away from Yemen. About 5 million people call this land home, which gained independence from Ethiopia on the exact day I was born, May 24th, 1991.
South Sudan and China's relationship began as early as the 1970s, when China sent a medical team of agricultural experts to provide assistance for the South Sudanese people. China also showed their support in 2005 by being one of the eyewitnesses to the signing of the peace agreement between North and South Sudan.
China welcomes the signing of a comprehensive peace agreement with South Sudan's rivals and will continue to support the country's peace process.
Although the United States is a heavy provider for South Sudan, these two countries do not have a significant relationship nor trades with one another. However, they will always show each other support.
So today I want to speak directly to you, the people of Sudan and South Sudan. In your lives, you've endured extraordinary hardship. You carry in your hearts the memory of family and friends you've lost. But in recent years, against great odds, you've made remarkable progress.
The start of Angola's and China's relationship takes place in the early 2000s. Once the Angolan War Reportugal ended in 2002, Angola needed to focus on the reconstruction of the country, and China provided much assistance to Angola.
Chinese President Xi Jinping on Sunday met with Angola's President João Lourenço ahead of the 2018 Beijing summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, or FOCAC, calling for the efforts to jointly promote the strategic partnership to a new level.
Angola and the United States have a long-standing relationship which began in 1993. Angola is the third largest trading partner to the United States in sub-Saharan Africa. Also, the United States provides Angola with military assistance and medical training.
What's the sign of goodwill that the president is waiting for?
Cessação das hostilidades. Da parte deles.
Ending
Depois da minha parte.
hostility from your part?
Senhor,
Who's going to take the lead?
Although Eritrea and China have a relationship with one another, it is not normalized because the relation primarily consists of China loaning money to Eritrea. One instance was in 2007 when Eritrea acquired a $60 million loan from China to invest in a portion of the Bisha mine.
The presence of occupation forces makes it impossible for any normalization of relationships.
The United States' relationship with Eritrea began in 1993. The United States supported Eritrea's independence from Ethiopia, but tensions from numerous events contributed to decades of strained relations.
Jump to somewhere and say I've achieved something. These were the real challenge, and the real challenge was do you have the resources for doing it? You may aspire to achieve some goals, but definitely you need resources to do that.
Since China has to pay billions of dollars to the United States for the trade war, China has decreased their demand for imports. However, some of the imports come from South Sudan, Angola, and Eritrea, which relies heavily on exporting their goods to China for revenue. This major factor caused the economic distress in South Sudan, Angola, and Eritrea.
So will this tension between China and the U.S. affect China's trade relations with Africa?
And the effect will go beyond US and China. Definitely Africa and other continents in the world where it will be negatively impacted. It's only those who will serve as alternative to counterpart country that will benefit from all of this. So Africa, if it's not very careful, might also take part in sudden price increases and reduction in investment across the globe.
Another factor that caused the economic distress is the weakening commodity prices. Since China is South Sudan's, Angola's, and Eritrea's top exporting country, the value of their materials would decrease due to the shift in demand.
There is a popular African adage that goes, when elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. Now, though Africa was not the direct target of the US-China trade war and has remained largely absent from the discourse, the reality is African nations are now facing a mixture of opportunity and harm to their economies. And here's why. Now, these trade tariffs have typically led to significant drops in commodity prices, local currencies, as well as major equity exchanges on the continent, but Africa could also fill that commodities export gap left by the US in China itself.
Let's take a look on how the weakening commodity prices is affecting each country. South Sudan is one of the most oil-subordinate nations on the planet, with oil representing nearly the entirety of fares and over 40% of its GDP.
It means that the oil production will resume in the areas that where we had shut down. The oil production increase will now be increased because we used to produce 350,000 barrels a day in South Sudan.
Similar to South Sudan, Angola is as yet enduring the impacts of lower oil costs and creation levels, with an expected GDP constriction around 1.2% in 2018. The oil segment represents 33% of GDP and over 90% of fares.
Angola's crude oil exports have fluctuated over the last year, but Angola was the second biggest supplier of oil to China in the first 5 months of 2017.
The weakening commodity prices primarily affected Eritrea's agribusiness segment, which represents around 33% of the economy. Agribusiness is the business sector encompassing farming and farming-related commercial activities. It is an important component of the economy in countries with arable land. Another factor that caused economic distress in South Sudan, Angola, and Eritrea is the missed commercial opportunities. African businesses are poorly positioned to benefit from commercial opportunities surfacing from the trade war.
According to the U.S. government's Bureau of Economic Analysis, the manufacturing sector accounted for over $2.2 trillion of U.S. GDP, or 11.6% of the total, in 2017. Regarding jobs, the manufacturing sector employed nearly 12.5 million people, or 8.5% of the U.S. workforce.
The final factor that caused the country's economic distress is the foreign direct investments, or FDI. FDI serves as a powerful engine of growth for these countries, and the global FDI flows fell by 13% in 2018 due to the trade war.
Foreign direct investment, or FDI, refers to a long-term investment by an investor in an enterprise in another economy, resulting in lasting interest with significant influence over the overseas enterprise. FDI typically occurs through mergers and acquisitions or setting up of business operations by the investor in a foreign economy. The investor is known as the direct investor, while the overseas enterprise is known as the direct investment enterprise. For example,
one solution to relieve South Sudan, Angola, and Eritrea from the economic distress is to create more trading relationships with other countries aside from China. For example, South Sudan could export their top export, which is crude petroleum, to Russia, who received the most amount of crude petroleum imports in Europe during 2018. The following video briefly explains the strategy to export to new countries.
Hi my friends, in this video we learn how to start an import-export business. If you want to learn import-export business, watch full video. This is 8 steps to start your import-export business. Number 1. Select your business name and set up a website and blog. Without a website or blog, you can have a networked import-export business. Get yourself a platform that allows you to develop a presence online and grow your business beyond your wildest imagination. Number 2. Pick a product to import or export. Market research is an essential step in the export process. With close to 200 countries in the world to export to, you want to make sure that you're targeting the right ones. Number 3. Find the right market. Wait. Before you shift into high gear, you must determine whether there really is a market for your product or service. Number 4. Source a supplier. Once you have a likely import or export product in mind, learn everything there is to know about it. If you were its creator, how would you improve it? Go to a manufacturer and suggest product improvements to turn a mediocre product into something slightly ahead of its time. Your suggestions might mean the difference between a Sony Walkman and an Apple iPod. Number 5. Price the product. The business model for an import-export business is based on 2 critical elements within the international sales operation. 1. Volume, number of units sold. 2. Commission on that volume. The more you sell, the more you make. Number 6.
Another solution to relieve these countries from their economic distress is to become a manufacturer. Implementing a manufacturing system for products that are more prevalent could increase revenue and even create more opportunities with other countries. The following video briefly explains the strategy to become a manufacturer.
Have you decided what items you will sell or produce or what services you will provide? Have you made a merchandise plan based upon estimated sales to determine the amount of inventory you will need to control purchases? Have you found reliable suppliers who will assist you in the startup? Have you compared the prices, quality, and credit terms of suppliers?
To reiterate, South Sudan, Angola, and Eritrea's economic distress was caused by China's decrease in imports, weakening commodity prices, missed commercial opportunities, and foreign direct investments. We conclude that these countries can recover from their financial depression if they utilize their resources and consider the solutions presented.